and that 12-year-old was out on bail. What is wrong with this picture?
You know, I think somebody needs to tell Sean Fraser that if we have 12-year-olds out on bail committing crime, then we got a bit of a problem on our hands. Folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at some updates in regarding stories that we covered a day or so ago with the rampant crime that's been happening here, and not just in Ontario, but across the country. So without further ado, let's dive into the news.
Turning to some other stories, we are following a 12-year-old boy has been charged with attempted murder in a shooting in Markham.
This happened the evening of August 14th on a residential street near McCowan and 14th Avenue. So police previously released footage of the shooting showing the suspect approach and shoot the victim while he sat in a vehicle in his driveway. So the chief of York Police mentioned the shooting during the news conference this morning, calling for bail reform and the Youth Criminal Justice Act.
You know, I believe this is a whole system approach. We need to look at youth justice reform. We need to look at bail. We need to focus our attention on public safety and make that the pinnacle of how we keep communities safe.
Now, right off the bat, I'm sure the algorithm gods are not going to like the fact that I'm covering this sort of topics, but when you have 12-year-olds running around with guns, and I'm no longer going to sugarcoat this language, attempting murder on people, then yeah, we have a bit of a problem on our hands. And when every other story is about shoot-ups and cars end up with holes through them, bullet holes, the fact that our justice minister is trying to say, well, this ain't the Wild Wild West, is a little delusional.
Guys, the scene is near the intersection of Keele and Donald Street. Please tell us, as Lena was just saying, that there was a shootout. There were at least 2 armed suspects, one on each side of Keele Street just before noon hour. And as a result of this shootout, 2 people were struck by bullets.
So it's not the Wild Wild West, but you have people on opposite sides of the streets having a shootout and people getting hurt in the crossfire. Gotcha.
You can see the white Ford Bronco just behind me here. It is parked in this plaza after ramming into this Italian restaurant here. And you can see clearly now that we have direct sunlight on it. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clear bullet holes, potentially 7, all on the driver's side of the vehicle. The front tire has been blown out as well. The windows smashed, the front window cracking, just holding on for dear life there. We understand from Peel Police, as well as witnesses who live in the condos just across the street here on South Down and Royal Windsor Drive. This happened around 4:10 this morning. This by the Clarkson Ghost train station, train and bus station. The witnesses tell me they saw the 2 vehicles pinning each other in. They heard multiple gunshots, 5 to 7. They then saw a woman staggering outside of the vehicle. She was saying the man that she was with was shot in the head. Peel Police saying shot in the body. We understand he's in his 30s, life-threatening condition. The woman taken to hospital with minor injuries, potentially something she sustained during the crash itself. The other vehicle, Peel Police are saying, is a white SUV filled with numerous people inside, fled in an unknown direction. This scene is absolutely massive. They have K9 units here. I just saw several other officers on the roof of the plaza itself, just taking different vantage points. They're speaking with someone who could potentially be a business owner here of the plaza. But yeah, this is a massive scene. They have closed down South Down Road at Royal Windsor Drive, but we're going to keep an eye on this one. A man in his 30s for now, sent to hospital, life-threatening injuries. The woman with minor injuries.
But again, folks, this isn't the Wild Wild West. Having 7 bullet holes in your vehicle and being woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning due to gunfire, totally normal. But it seems like it doesn't even need to involve guns, because just a day or so ago, there was a house fire, which people weren't sure how this fire started. Turns out was an actual arsonist, and an 11-year-old unfortunately lost her life because of it.
And police said that a fire that killed a young girl in Richmond Hill, this was intentionally set.
That fire broke out at a home on Skywood Drive in the Yonge Street and Gamble Road area on Labor Day. 5 people, whose sources tell CP24 were all members of the same family, were taken to hospital. Investigators confirming today that an 11-year-old has since died of her injuries, and they believe the fire was an act of arson.
4 unconscious victims were found in the residence, and a 5th victim was located outside. All 5 victims were transported to hospital in critical condition. On September 2nd, One of the victims, an 11-year-old, succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced. At this time, based on the evidence collected during the course of the investigation, the fire is believed to be an arson. The incident is now being investigated as a homicide, and 4 other victims remain in critical condition.
But according to Sean Fraser, this is just Pierre Poilievre trying to fearmonger everybody. Yet the main story that was breaking all the headlines was about the father who lost his life in Vaughan because he was there was intruders in his house at 1 o'clock in the morning. They had a gun to his daughter's head. He tried to defend her, or he did go to defend her and ended up losing his life. Well, it turns out there's new video of the same potential individuals breaking into another house 90 minutes from the previous location.
Police are also trying to determine if a nearby home invasion is connected. Footage shared by York Regional Police shows one of the 3 suspects breaking a window with a gun to enter a home near Major Mackenzie Drive and Highway 27. That's less than a kilometer away, and this happened 90 minutes after this deadly home invasion. And in this footage, people inside the home can be heard screaming before the suspects run away when security alarm is triggered. Anyone who recognizes the suspects in the video is asked to contact police. Now, police did not give any other further information about the interaction between Faruqi and the suspects, but they did say this is a very tragic situation, and they said that in the unlikely event that you find yourself in a situation like this one where there is a home invasion, to not interact with the suspects as much as possible and to call 911 instead.
Again, folks, remember, this is not the Wild Wild West. This is totally normal in Canada. Don't defend your house, your property, anything like that. Give them the keys to your car, set up some tea, coffee, biscuits, welcome them right into, better yet, just put all of your belongings on the front lawn at this point and just allow them to take it all without even bothering you while you're sleeping. Just give them everything that they want. It's totally fine. This is what Canada is all about. Not this fear-mongering from Pierre Poilievre, the Conservatives, even the Ontario Conservatives, who Stephen Lecce, Minister Stephen Lecce, he's calling for bail reform and for the feds to actually do something. But again, this must be something to do with a conservative mindset. Totally normal in Canada for sure.
And so I really hope the federal government will listen, will heed the advice of victims, and put law-abiding people, their interests, ahead of criminals.
Yeah, I mean, we heard the premier say that it is a disaster, according to him, in the justice system. And he did say that he was going to be all over the Mark Carney government. I know that those calls for bail reform are growing louder, Minister. You also posted on X about a petition that's going around calling on the federal government to immediately reinstate mandatory minimum sentences for violent crimes like this. Tell us more about that.
You know, the message is if you are so brazen and shameful to commit a violent crime like a home invasion or the cause of death with an illegal firearm, the law should be that you automatically get jail time. Serious penalty for a serious crime. The law was weakened by the government of Canada many years ago. And from commissioners and police chiefs and the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, and victims and families, everyone has come together demanding action. Mandatory minimums means that if you commit a serious crime, there's a mandatory automatic sentence of jail time. We need deterrence that sends signals and messages that if you commit crimes, there will be accountability. As you know, as we all know in this country, that is not the experience for criminals. They are caught by police who do their job and do it well against incredible odds, and they're released back on the street to repeat and offend. And it's just an unacceptable reality. People in Vaughan and King, I mean, we launched this petition. In 24 hours, we have over 5,000 signatures. I've never seen something like this before in my life. And I've been elected since 2018. People demand action. And so if we could be a conduit to the feds to call for action, we're going to do that. We're going to keep the pressure on, and we're going to be relentless in demanding reform, because I don't want another family to grieve irreparable loss. These are people, we will never get them back. And I made a pledge to the Father that we will use every lever, every resource, and every access point to the government of Canada to keep the pressure on to demand justice for his son and for every victim of crime in this country.
Now, all of this is extremely tragic, and unfortunately, we do need the Liberals to do something. Sean Fraser can't just say, this is Canada, we're all safe. Pierre Poilievre is fear-mongering, because everybody is noticing that there needs some sort of change. Bail reform needs to happen. Policies need to be looked at. But unfortunately, it's also to do with the provinces, as the feds tend to try to put the blame back on them. But it's more so that they don't have the space or capacity to hold these people in jail, which is why they keep getting put onto bail. Steve Ryan, who you saw a little earlier, one of the reporters for CP24, he used to be a cop. Now he's the crime specialist for CP24. He goes into a little bit of detail about this, how this is why it's a revolving door of people just getting caught, getting bail, going back out, and causing more issues.
The York police provided an update on 2 homicides this week, and along with several other violent crime investigations. CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan joins us live with more on what was said at this press conference. And you know, what was interesting, Steve, is that the chief saying they're appealing for bail reform and that the system is broken. But when we speak to many of the legal experts that we have on our show, they have a very different of opinions on that. Talk about 2 contrasting opinions on the current state of our justice system.
Jimmy, that's a great point. And I think there is fingers to be pointed in 2 directions. So start with the feds. The feds are the ones that make legislation. They are the ones that determine sentencing. And of course, stronger sentences will hopefully and most likely deter others from committing crimes. Now, the feds also implement the bail legislation. But that is the responsibility of the province when it comes to housing those who are on bail and faced with being detained before a trial or being released. So when it comes to provincial detention centers, they are over capacity. Some of them are at 130%. Therefore, when somebody commits a violent crime and is arrested, they're put back out in the street because there is nowhere to house them. And oftentimes the justices of the peace, who are well aware of the charter, which says that everybody basically is free from inhumane treatment, aren't sending them into custody, Jamie, because there's nowhere to put them. So fingers are being pointed in both directions. The feds are saying it's the province is saying it's the feds, but the reality is bail is enforced in the province, and if people are detained in custody, they go into provincial jail. And if there is no room, we need to build bigger jails. And that's something that the province has recognized. But until that takes place and we clear out the clog of 80% of the people in custody right now, Jamie, are awaiting trial. 80% are in pretrial custody, not convicted. There's your problem. There's the problem, not yours, of course, but there's the problem that we see collectively, and that is there is no room to house those who are out there committing violent offense after violent offense. So the chief today was very frustrated when he provided updates saying that his men and women are out there on a daily basis facing the same criminals. So it's like a big revolving door. So it needs to be a partnership with the feds and with the province. But the reality is the provincial jails are run by the province. And until such time that we get that 130% clogged rate, get that freed up so there's more room for others to come in, this is going to continue. So we update today on a homicide that occurred on Sunday morning in Vaughan near Major Mac and Highway 27. Multiple suspects entered a home and they shot and killed a man. Now, police have said that this was a targeted incident, and when asked by members of the media what they meant by that or why they said that, they said it was for financial gain. When asked what that financial gain was, they would not elaborate, saying that it was part of the investigation. 90 minutes later, we're showing you this surveillance video right now. This happened 90 minutes after that man was shot and killed in his home on Sunday morning. This is just down the street from where the first home invasion / murder occurred. Police are actively investigating this one as well. Have not made the connection yet between the two, but they will certainly keep that as part of their investigation, with the possibility that these are the same suspects that committed the homicide.
Now, if I was a betting man, I would say that those 3 definitely had something to do with the previous attack or homicide, and then they just decided to extend the night and try it again a little bit later. But the problem here is we don't have this space to hold all these people. And so instead of doing all these weird projects like digging tunnels under the 401 here in Ontario with Doug Ford's idea, or moving the Science Center, which is perfectly fine, or the Ontario Place, how about we start investing and try to build the bigger jails? Or maybe expand the ones that we already have so that they can accommodate all these lunatics. I don't know. That could just be a pretty good suggestion and use of taxpayer money so that people aren't just suffering all the time and having to just leave your keys there, don't fight back, allow them to break in and do whatever they want to you. And you can't defend yourself, because if you do, there's potential that you could go to jail too. With all that being said, let me know what you guys think about all this. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.